Uh, Hello, may peace be on you, and may all your countries, states, communities, and your beloved ones be safe from these challenges ranging from COVID and the climate change and the rest of the threats that I think with people like you, we feel encouraged and really motivated that we will overcome. Without further delay, I'd like to welcome all of you, ambassadors, officials, friends, colleagues, media, uh, to this webinar on empowerment of young women in the MENA region. And I'm glad, as I said earlier, offline, that we are, as 3 or 4 men, a minority in this fantastic group to tackle the issue of empowerment of young women in the MENA region on the occasion of the International Youth Day, which is marked globally today. Let me welcome Sheikha Intisar Al-Sabah from Kuwait, founder of Intisar Foundation. Her Excellency Sheikha Dina bint Rashid Al Khalifa, Assistant Secretary General of Bahrain Supreme Council for Women. We were supposed to have with us Her Excellency Najla Mahmoud Al Mangoush from the Foreign Minister of Libya, but we think she will not be able to make it. I'll also welcome my compatriot, Her Excellency Olfa Sukri, former Vice President of the Global the Parliamentary Network of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, and former Tunisian Member of Parliament. Last but not least, I'm really honored to have my friend Diana Fadl, who is the founder of Foundation Dian for civic awareness and eco-sustainable development, and honorary member of the Women Leaders Council of in Lebanon. I will also welcome an old young friend, Her Excellency Lieutenant Colonel Ratih Pusparini of Indonesia's National Defense and Security Agency. I think she is also known as the first peacekeeping officer from Indonesia, a military observer of different UN missions in Congo, then Lebanon as part of UNIFIL, etc., etc. So I will, without delay, since this is the day for women, I will sit back and leave our women from IPI take the floor and make the statement. But before I go, I'd like to welcome my friend, the ambassador of Philippines, and all other newcomers. Dalia you, and Eliza, you have the floor, my dear friends and colleagues.
Thank you, Nejib. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying I hope everyone is in good health and all your loved ones are safe and well. I'd like to thank you all for your interest and support to IPI MENA's event. As we celebrate International Youth Day, we recognize the importance of empowering young women, especially in the MENA region, as a prerequisite to creating a peaceful future for all of us. The ongoing coronavirus pandemic has added to the adversely gendered impact on women in all aspects of life. Globally, youth unemployment has reached outrageous numbers, and sadly, our region is the highest contributor to these numbers at 22.9% in 2021, of which 42.5% are female. According to the IMF and World Bank data, the region's average female labor force participation is a low 27%. In its 2021 Global Gender Report, the World Economic Forum stated the pandemic has reversed global progress in achieving equality between men and women. Continuing at this rate, it will take 133 years to achieve total gender parity. It's also well known that armed conflict disproportionately affects women and girls and intensifies pre-existing gender inequalities and discrimination. I think I'll hand over to my colleague now, Eliza Chia, as well, if you wish to add remarks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard, these are alarming statistics and we need to take action now. As agents of peace, realizing, supporting, and unlocking the full potential of girls around the world through the interconnected nature of youth, women, and education will help pave the way for the future of societies that will know long-lasting peace and sustainable development. According to the UN, it's been proven that peace agreements which include women meaningfully are 35% more likely to last at least 15 years. When women play a real role, peace wins and war loses. There is just no substitute for having women at peace negotiation tables. Despite the feats made in various social indices thus far, it is not enough to knock down gender-based discrimination and violence in the home of world and work. In 2019, IPI hosted a roundtable to launch a report on how progress can be made in implementing the Women, Peace and Security commitments through 10 steps. The report had highlighted how in practice, the WPS agenda had not translated into the inclusion of gender perspectives and women and girls' rights in policy and programming, and that civil society too plays a vital and integrated role in the actualization of this agenda. As such, we must continue to work together across all levels of the multilateral system, both men and women, engaging in conversation between and across generational lines in order to achieve this goal by 2030. In this regard, I'm delighted and honored to share the floor today with this amazing panel of women from the MENA region who are experts and leaders in their respective fields, and who are here to share their experiences, lessons learned, and visions of the future. Women and girls are sources of power. They are the strongest tethers in our society that guarantee a resilient community and a future of long-lasting peace and sustainable development. Hence, we must continue together to change the prejudices and social norms to remove all the obstacles and provide the best access in all spheres, political, economic, and social, that will help make today's girls tomorrow's powerful leaders. Thank you again for coming today.
Thank you, Dalia. Thank you, Eliza, for these introductory remarks on behalf of International Peace Institute, Middle East and North Africa. And now I'd like to give the floor to my dear friend and our partner, Her Excellency Sheikh Intisar Al-Sabah from Kuwait. She is an IPI partner, and you will discover in her a new live wire in the movement of sustainable development from a very original angle. Sheikh Intisar, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be partnering with IPI and to be here with such distinguished people. Am I supposed to answer a question or talk about what we do for the self-empowerment of women and peace building bottoms up? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Okay, so I'd like, Intisar Foundation is partnering with IPI, but I would like to take you a little bit back to 2013 when I started in Kuwait, an NGO using positive psychology to implement or to have social behavioral change in Kuwait. And I'm taking you back because I want to lay the foundation of how we reached at Intisar Foundation to using the very innovative psychological intervention of drama therapy for peace building. So in 2013, I started Unaware, which uses positive psychology in Kuwait. And in 2015, we started using positive psychology as exercises based on a very very simple curriculum in Kuwait high schools with both boys and girls. And within 3 years of implementing it, we have research that was published in Springer Journal. What we realized from all the statistics we're taking and also the observations of the schools. So post-COVID or pre-COVID, we were in 48 high schools implementing or training about 500 teachers to implement the program on around 11,700 students. What we realized, and if you'll excuse me, I'll be reading the numbers because I have them here so I don't forget them. So what we realized by implementing a positive psychology curriculum, that there was a lot of kindness being driven as behavior in schools. There was more collaboration between students, there was more collaboration between teachers and other teachers, and I can give you numbers. Mostly there was much more kindness between the students themselves and the students and the teachers themselves. And with the kindness, we measured a huge reduction in violence. And I'm talking violence, we actually measured it in girls' schools, not even in boys' schools. It happened in boys' schools, but we actually were very interested in measuring the violence in girls' schools. And within a few months of implementing the program, we had a 20% reduction in violence and bullying in schools. So that's a huge number within a very short time. And so after that, so that's ongoing. We're still, once the schools resume, inshallah, we'll be continuing implementing the program. And in 2018, we started implementing another form of psychological intervention. We started using applied theater in primary schools to change, or let's say to combat bullying. And I don't like using the word combat. Let's say to reverse and change bullying. And in that, there we go. And in that, we worked with boys and girls from 9 to 13, 14. And also with that, we saw a huge increase in kindness and a huge decrease in bullying. And I'll give you, there's a 90% reduction in incidence of kindness among the students who participated. And 80% of the trained educators felt more equipped to resolve bullying. And that's one thing we've realized is everyone talks about violence, everyone condemns violence, but very few tools are given to stop violence. And that's what we do. So applied theater used to reverse bullying into kindness was very different, very innovative, but also very effective. I mean, I've got huge numbers of statistics at what's happened. I'm not going to say all of them, but the most important ones I want to highlight, and again, that's going to peace building, bottoms up approach, is the students had a better understanding of others and their behavior. So they became highly empathetic. They had higher self-confidence and self-esteem. They had better communication skills. They had improved physical awareness. This is just using applied theater in schools. And the reason I'm giving all these numbers is to tell you about Intisar Foundation, which was started in 2018. And what we basically do is use drama therapy to have, to build peace in the Arab world through the self-empowerment of women. And why did we use drama therapy? Many reasons. Predominantly, it's engaging, it's an activity and exercises as opposed to preaching and lecturing, but it's also non-stigmatizing, there's no shame, there's no aversion to using it. And in the Arab world, we have a lot of aversion to psychological interventions. But another strong thing that drama, the way we implement the drama therapy is we use it in a community level. So it's a group therapy. The women work together with the therapist to realize their self-confidence, raise their self-confidence, their voices, their visibility, and also to connect with other women, and also to grow their ability to deal with their problems and also to de-stress, we have PTSD, and I will share a couple of statistics here because I know these are very important for everyone to know. So 68% of our participants experienced reduction in PTSD. 94 experienced reduction in depression. 75 experienced reduction in anxiety. I mean, these numbers, they're too huge for them not to have an effect on the women. And time again, what we've realized is the women, when they feel better, it automatically transfers to their families, to their communities. And PTSD is linked to irritability, low impulse control, violent outbursts, and many other behavioral issues. And when the women are able to deal with their anger, they're less likely to be violent towards their children. And if we want to have sustained peace, we have to have peace in the beginning in the household. If there's no peace in the household, it will explode to outside the household. Let's see if there's anything I've forgotten. I think that's all I wanted to say. And we strongly believe at Ansar Foundation, because we continue our research. We are actually an implementing program, but we're also research-driven program. So we like to measure the impact of everything we do, because only by measuring the impact can I sit in front of you here and with all confidence say that if we want sustainable peace, if we want to have a better Arab world, we have to work with the women, we have to work with the families, but predominantly the women are the glue in the fabric of society. And all research has proved that when there's a war or a crisis or a trauma, that the women are unable to hold the societies together, and therefore we have violence and we have conflict. So I will just end it by saying that by self-empowering women, we ensure that future generations and communities are resilient and less prone to violence. Thank you very much. I hope that answers everyone's questions. And if you have any questions, please do let me know.
Thank you, Sheikh Intisar. With all respect, I think we will need you to for further follow-up, because we will not answer the multiple questions around women and around the challenges presented by the requirements of the sustainable development, peace, and all other concerns in the Middle East and North Africa. So I hope you will get back to take the floor whenever needed and intervene within what we wish to be a fruitful and result-oriented exchange. And I'm sure many of our guests here would like to meet you from Tunisia, from Lebanon, and
I would be honored. Actually, we're looking at growing the way that we work and scaling it in quite a different way. So please, anyone who wants to contact me, get my email from IPI. I'd be more than happy and actually very honored to see what we can do together in different countries in the MENA region. I would be absolutely honored.
Thank you again,
Thank you so much.
Intisar. I will invite my friend and partner as a person and as an institution, Sheikh Dina bint Rashid Al Khalifa, the Assistant Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Women of Bahrain, with whom we work as a council, as I said, and as a person in the what we call a model way. Sheikh Dina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Nejib, and it's always a pleasure to be here and to join IPI's events. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank officially the International Peace Institute for organizing today's symposium on International Youth Day to discuss regional efforts empowering young women and girls, especially during times of crises and pandemics. Now, as the national machinery tasked with monitoring the status of women through strategic planning and evidence-based research, And speaking particularly on the pandemic, the Supreme Council for Women in the Kingdom of Bahrain was very much quick to invest its experiences. It was very much quick to invest its experience, its expertise, and operate in accordance with its mandate in order to respond to the situation at hand. Now, that particularly relates to the urgent needs of women and families. In parallel, it has also taken the opportunity to review and adjust its national plans moving forward to address the circumstances surrounding the ramifications of this pandemic. Now, in an effort to exchange and share experiences with you today, I'd like to present a number of notable measures taken by Bahrain and have contributed to alleviating this predicament on women and girls during the pandemic. As per the directives of His Majesty the King, a work from home policy was applied very early on for all working mothers within the government sector, where the private sector was quick to follow in adopting similar policies. The SCW has also issued numerous recommendations, one of which, of course, we'd like to highlight with you today, which was adopted by government to grant the husbands of working mothers within the front lines, as they constitute over 75% of the frontliners, the opportunity to work remotely and to be with their children. Now, distance learning was adopted very early on across all levels of education throughout the kingdom. And then as the health situation continued to improve, parents were given the option of either blended learning between the classroom and home or the option to continue distance learning. Now, the SCW has also conducted over the last year and a half a national campaign offering legal, psychological, social, and economic consultations with a special focus on mental health and occupational stability during the pandemic. Now, the SCW as well worked with the relevant authorities to play an instrumental role in facilitating child visitations of divorced families, especially during times where there were temporary suspension of certain social centers in the country. Now, in respect to the economy, on another end, a business continuity program was launched by Bahrain's Labor Fund, which provided financial grants worth $60 million to affected enterprises, supporting them to cover their operational expenses. And more than 5,400 women-owned enterprises and more than 1,500 enterprises co-owned by women and men have benefited from this particular program, whereby young entrepreneurs today constitute about 23% of the entrepreneurs. Now, businesses have been exempted from various different government fees. Banks have postponed private and commercial loans for over a year, while providing electronic payment facilities and solutions to assist and support citizens and residents of all ages during these difficult times. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the methodologies adopted by Bahrain during the pandemic have proven effective in dealing with these exceptional circumstances in a manner of high flexibility and competence. This has resulted in reducing the impact of the crisis and its repercussions on young women and girls. Now, statistically speaking, we find that Bahrain was able to maintain the percentages of the participation of women within the labor force during the pandemic at 53% in comparison to pre-pandemic. In the public sector, 35% in the private sector. The economic participation of women has actually spiked significantly during this time, whereby women constitute 43% of commercial registration owners, 50% of virtual business owners. And additionally, 39% of exporters today in Bahrain are women entrepreneurs, and their services have actually reached over 51% worldwide. And as a pandemic, it was very much important for the business community to be able to diversify in their approach of dealing with their commercial projects in order to be able to address the pandemic and to address the challenges that they face. Now, finally, as we firmly believe in the importance of today's event as a platform to exchange best practices and showcase success stories, I'm very pleased to be able to invite everybody today here with us to visit the Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa Global Award for Women Empowerment website. And I hope that in this opportunity, you'll be able to know more about this particular award, as it serves as an important platform through which the Council, in partnership with UN Women, works to highlight qualitative expertise in this field. So thank you again for this opportunity. We're very much pleased to be here, and we look forward to the discussion, as you said, Mr. Nejib. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Sheikh Khadina. As usual, impressive and effective strategies and policies by the Supreme Council of Women in general, and much more so during the pandemics. And this is not my complimentary remarks. This has been noted by the international community reports, be that the UN and the World Bank, and during which I think a special tribute was paid to the Bahraini businesswomen, and of course to the measures, as mentioned by Dalia earlier, how effective the leadership preempted the impact of COVID-19 on vulnerable groups. But I don't consider at all that Bahraini women and women in general as vulnerable groups. They are the leading key elements in any strategy or scheme of development. So congratulations again. Of course, we will get back to you, Sheikh Khadina, in our follow-up discussion. Now I'll give the floor to my friend Orfa Sokri from Tunisia. She's former Vice President of Global Parliamentary Network of World Bank and International Monetary Fund, former Tunisian MP. She has many other titles. I need 1 hour to list those titles, but she is also a professor in Paris, and she teaches journalism, communication, all that. Orfa, I'll stop there. I'll give you the floor, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to all of you. I'm really pleased to be one of the panelists. I'm really glad to share the panel with all those estimated guests. Thank you, Nejib, dear friend. Just to say one word, I was just moving from civil society, from NGO to government. I thought that I had just to skip the end and go for government and make more impact. This is why I have the experience to be in the politics. But I'm still naive to think that if you'd like to make a change, we can make it. When there's a will, there's a way, and we can do politics differently. So giving back to COVID, and we know that COVID make us thinking about how we can shape better words, better policies, and give more impact. The COVID-19 pandemic is putting an unprecedented and significant strain on the global economy and public health system. As the OECD said, estimates that the projected change in GDP is less than 6%. Can you imagine the crisis highlighting, magnifying inequalities of the multiple forms of discrimination, but essentially faced by women and girls? The pandemic has moved from global health, essentially crisis, morphed more labor market, social, economic crisis, and even cultural, societal, society, posing serious threat to women's employment, livelihood, especially in precarious, informal, and non-essential sectors. In MENA context, and culturally saying, it's vital to adopt innovative solutions to reduce those economic losses and the adverse impact on women's livelihood during the pandemic and after the pandemic, how to make impact to recover the economy. This have to be encouraged by channeling resources, giving more means to reach our objectives, and to sustain development, to no one left behind, no girls, no women. I will focus on 3 points. First, in policy making, from a policy maker to a job maker, to a lecturer, the policy making is the legal framework that can protect gender equality or gender equity. But we saw that during crisis, the opportunity is seized to eliminate these discriminatory norms and laws to give equal participation to both women and men to invigorate the economy. Over the past years and during my little political experience in parliament, to empower women, we have to empower women leadership. Participation at the political level has increased, given gender parity and even in education. In particular, women's tertiary education enrollment rates have significantly increased to reach more than 50%, exceeding the regional rate by 20 percentage points. However, for majority of women in MENA, this progress has not been translated into more economic empowerment. The problem is culturally, we long time thought that when we get a diploma, we can have directly the first job. The regional female foreign labor force participation rate is one of the lowest worldwide, is 20%. And the high female youth unemployment is more than 45%. Make young women particularly vulnerable in the labor market. What we learned from the COVID is when the lockdown came and women stay home, have to have more than 3 cascades, to be a woman, to be the teacher for the kids, to be working online, and all this pressure, how to give opportunity to women to build her own business online, to offer services online, how to think out of the box. It's a call for all those youth. I'm talking about educating versus learning, challenging how to launch a new idea, giving more impact in their community, in their city, in their country, and like a world citizen. Second thing is about jobs. We saw that in this late era, jobs have changed, but essentially with the COVID, we saw that jobs have no more the same qualities in the space, in the time, but also in speciality. The COVID-19 crisis poses further threat to women's engagement in the paid economy. It has exacerbated pre-existing restrictive social norms, defining men and women's roles in MENA society, highlighted how discriminatory legal frameworks across the region continue to constrain women's equal access to economy. In the Arab region, the ESCWA estimated that $42 billion decline in GDP as a result of COVID-19 and the loss of 1.7 million jobs. It's enormous. And nearly 700,000 jobs lost for women. As women are encouraged to remain out of the workforce through taking on longer-term domestic duties of care and education, their jobs were likely disproportionately affected by these layoffs, which is likely will increase the gender gaps in livelihoods labor force. These risks are particularly acute for certain categories of informal workers, and will touch the income and social security, including domestic workers, essentially agricultural workers, small traders, among whom women are significantly present, and refugees too, migrant women. So overall, the MENA governments, there is different steps and experiences trying to go throughout this crisis, incorporating institutions, ministries, crisis units, trying to ensure a gender-sensitive response. As a former member of parliament and former rapporteur of finance committee, I was always advocating for a sensitive budget, gender-sensitive budget. When a country have to shape its public policy, every country have to be sure that there will be the same impact for men or women citizens. even if we have the same means, we can target him to get more impact, including addressing the surge in gender-based equity. What we've done in Tunisia, we made the law to protect women against violence, and we recognize two qualities of violence: economic violence and political violence. So across the MENA, women jobs have changed. We know that there is more than 50% informal, but we also know that SMEs account for over than 90% of all business and provide a major source of job creation. This survey was made by IMF in 2019, just before the COVID. Therefore, policies supporting small and medium enterprises, which concentrate majority of female employment in the private sector. I really believe on public-private partnership trying to build more opportunities to youth and to reinvigorate the female employment in the MENA. This is the particular importance for women. Jobs, entrepreneurship, and financing those new initiatives or projects by dedicating a special credit line for women entrepreneurs could make a difference. We saw in the COVID-19, during the period of the lockdown, there was an increase of solidarity, given opportunity to women entrepreneurs to launch the solidarity vegetable baskets to be sure that the women agriculture could have a per day wage, and also we saw initiative for reusing and crafting tissues, or reusing the waste and the crafting for artistic projects. In light of the various measures that can be taken by different countries at the political level, the response of the civil society is really important. Working with the civil society, with the private sector, and with the political, give more centralize the actions. So in light of the first measures, working with the World Bank, United Nations Agency, OECD, foundations, multi-stakeholders should take a closer look to government investments and consider the implication for future policy. Looking for beneficiaries, directly beneficiaries for gender-responsive economy recovery process. My call today for the youth, and essentially for yours, wherever is your position, your situation, your student, your professor, your politician, wherever is your duty, you have to act. It's important, so be an engaged citizen, make the footprint, give the most impact in your community. Be committed to promoting women's and girls' empowerment. I will conclude by saying for the 4 E's. Empowering women, employing women, enhancing access to health services, and educating girls. COVID has made clear the importance of preserving and resourcing well-designed health system, resilient, flexible education to everyone, and strong social protection programs. My today call for youth to be the change maker and build your own path. Think out of the box, be innovative. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one of the most responsive to change. Thank you, dear. So,
thank you, Honorary MP, although former. Thank you for this insightful presentation. I think it's an eye-opener to all of us to focus in particular on women lawmakers, members of parliament in our efforts to make laws adapt to the requirements of the sustainable development, in particular the role of women and the empowerment of young women, as the International Youth Day recommends. And we'll certainly get back to you, Madam Sukri, for further elaboration on this matter. I will reiterate my call to all of you, ambassadors, dear friends, to take the floor and make comments. I'm addressing the new Turkish ambassador in Bahrain, the rest of the old and young friends, from Jerome to Nazrul to His Excellency the Ambassador of Philippines. And I see my friend Ibrahim from pension. He's very young, but he's tackling the most challenging matter regarding women and men, which is the crisis of pensions. I hope you will succeed to secure a good retirement for everybody. Last but not least, and we give the floor to the last words. This is what remains in our minds. Before, of course, letting my sister Rati Pusparini to make a few comments, I will give the floor to my dear friend Diana Fadel from Lebanon, head of the Diana Foundation, Fondation Diana. You are muted.
You hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to meet all these fabulous women in the region, in the MENA region. You know, I love to know how successful and powerful could women be in the other regions, to give us examples in Lebanon, where the personal status of the woman is not really helping her to take power, to empower youth girls, and to make things happen for her. There are several obstacles in Lebanon against women. The first one is psychological, because she doesn't have a real awareness of her power and of her potential. The second is social, because the society doesn't give her the place that she deserves in professionally, politically, everywhere. And the third one, it's the policy making that leaves her with a personal status that keep the gender inequality very, very strong in Lebanon. As you know, Lebanon is passing by a very, very big crisis. And we are very anxious about the outcoming of this first, what was a happy revolution, and now is becoming a very, very deep crisis, social, economical, and around peace also, because we are fearing a lot what could happen. So Lebanese economy contracted by a lot. I can say, because maybe you don't know it, I am since 7 months, I was appointed chairwoman and CEO of all ABC malls and department stores in Lebanon. You all know what is ABC place in Lebanon, and I am very proud to have been given this opportunity, but really I fought a lot to be able to put my experience in this field, because I was co-founder of this business from the beginning, when me and my husband. But you know, every time woman is behind the man, and they say behind a successful man there is a woman. They never say beside him. I would like that one day they consider the place that a woman has occupied in the shadow, and the power that she gave to her husband or other men in position in the enterprises. Well, this is for beginning. I think it could be a model for other women in Lebanon to think that they can and they should take opportunities when they have the experience that is needed to manage big enterprises and even middle and small enterprises. This is in the economic side, but I would like also to promote the political side. We have very few women in power in the parliament, and I think to change the personal status of the women, we need more women in the parliament to vote for this change that is blocked by all the religions and religions men. I would love to see once Lebanon in a laicity and equal chances for all people, whatever is the religion. Our role, first, if I want to talk about the foundation I have founded also several years ago, it is about civic awareness. So when we talk about women empowerment, it's part of civic awareness and sustainable development goals. These are very important. And my foundation was the first one to talk about sustainable development in Lebanon, to tackle the environment issues, and to talk about eco-citizenship. First, I create with the University St. Joseph a chair for education, because everything begins with education, sensibilization, research, awareness, trainings, all this about eco-citizenship and sustainable development goals. We tackled these issues with numerous schools and municipalities, because municipalities are to be trained too in Lebanon to apply these goals. This chair is really playing this role in several conferences, webinars, trainings, and whatever is good to promote our faith in the protection of environment and the sustainable development goals. That gender equality is part of it, a great part of it. Second, the foundation created an investment platform to put in action what we think is good to promote the sustainable development goals. And we are actually operationally and financially supporting 14 startups. Half of them are managed by women, and 5 others 50% others by guys. And really, we are supporting them in a lot of ways. And we are happy to say that these startups were in a step where no banks and not any investor would have liked to invest in and to support them because they were very young startups. And Fondation Diane is the one who is really putting finance and work to put them on the good way, on the good rails, you know, to succeed. This is from the part of Fondation Diane. Also, we create a new incubator, industrial green incubator, where we are incubating whatever startup is in green industry. That is different from our 14 startups that are in business, in green business only. We never take any business that is harming the environment or against our goals. This is from the foundation side, and after telling you about my appointment in ABC, I would like to talk about my personal experience as a woman. I am coming from a very conservative family, and I suffered a lot of my education, my strict education at home. Maybe it gave me a very strong structure, but I paid it a lot from my side. And from there, I would like to recommend to the mothers to educate their daughters differently than they were educated in several points. They should give them freedom, more freedom, and more responsibility about their own lives, how to conduct their own lives, how they could work, they have professional life, how they could marry, how they could, well, all over issues to be tackled in a woman's life. We should give a lot of awareness and consciousness to the young girls how the traditional way of considering women is not reflecting their potential, their real potential. Woman as a stay-at-home is very important when she chooses to be at home, but when she also can choose to have a profession and to be in politics and to be in social influence, she has to go through a battle, through a fight sometimes, to get to the point where she wants to be. And as much as I consider that a woman that stays at home because it's her own choice, I consider it in a very high esteem. But also, I consider that young girls should have the choice to choose another way if they want. And they have as much potential as men with different qualities. Sometimes there are qualities women have that men do not, and sometimes men have qualities women do not have. But I think that their how to say, positioning in the society and in politics and in the law, also because of the personal status of women in Lebanon, is important. They should be there. And now with the crisis we are facing in Lebanon against the gender inequality, the religion's influence, about everything that is allowed to men and not allowed to women, we women we have to stand up and to create a group of empowering women that could lead maybe to the peace I want to hope that in Lebanon. And I ask all the women over the MENA region to support such a battle, because it will be a battle to create this group that can have an influence on the way of doing of all the parties in Lebanon and all the events that are now coming, and maybe worse than that, what could come in the future. We can show to the young women that the management by men around the world, unfortunately, has failed somewhere because of the violence that we find in all the countries, and the peace that everybody wants at the world cannot reach. It's a pity. In the north of Europe, where management, political management, military management, policy management are done by women, we can see that there is much more peace. And I would like that it will happen to all the women in MENA region to be able to give their, their input in the process of events in all the MENA region. Well, we have to be women models for the young people. We have to make more conferences, webinars to tackle them with the issues that they are facing every day, and to develop our incubators for new initiatives. Actually, in ABC, I create what I call the By the Roots concept. It was inaugurated 2 days ago on the 9th. And we are promoting young designers, and almost 75% of them are women, young women. And we are selling their products and empowering them to be more and more capable of producing and designing and exporting also. We are going to help them to export their products to get them fresh dollars, because as you know, dollars in the banks do not mean anymore nothing in Lebanon. All the dollars we have in the banks are quite dead. We can't use them, and their value is decreasing in a very dangerous way. Now our dollars in bank that were equal to all the American dollars, they are American dollars, but because they are in banks, they are now 20% of the value of the American dollar that is coming from abroad, what we call the fresh dollar. Well, we have a lot to do if we want our youth to be aware and conscious of its potential. We have to create incubators, sports team, theaters for expression, conferences, and especially to make them aware of their financial independence, because as long as a woman depends on man's finances, she is not free. So I thank you for listening to me, and I was very happy to listen to you, to your work in different fields, psychological, policy makings, and your help against COVID in these difficult times. And I hope I will meet you once and we can do team work together to make things happening better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. That's very comprehensive, and we share with you all our concerns regarding the situation in Lebanon, and you've been not completely wrong by blaming the male leadership that led to many failures, and hopefully you and your network and all our leading women in this webinar will join acts and think together towards acting. And I think, as we all agree, if the power is shared 50-50 between men and women, we stand more chances to avoid all these bad results, I would say. I understand that my friend Sheikh Intisar Al-Sabah has to leave. We wished we could stay a bit longer, but I fully understand that she's a very busy woman. And let me, before she leaves, thank her a lot. And please, we will ask you to relate to my colleague, our policy analyst, Dalia Al-Alawi, and Eliza, your contacts and who else could be a focal point to get from these meetings a follow-up. We don't want these meetings to be just speeches, and IPI welcomes any suggestion from your side to put these ideas into concrete programs, visions, strategies. I will give the floor now to my dear friend, if she's still around. Yes, I see Lieutenant Colonel Rati Pusparini from Indonesia, and I'm proud to see her around with us. She is a Lieutenant Colonel from the Indonesian Armed Forces, but she is a peacemaker, as she spent large parts of her youth into the peacekeeping operations, either in Lebanon or in different parts of the world. My sister Rati, you have the floor.
Thank you, Pak Friji. Respected Pak Friji, and also the respected speakers, Excellency, distinguished participant. I can say a thank you to IPI MENA for inviting me for this afternoon. And this is a great event where I can meet and also listen to the great opinions of the greatest women in MENA region. I think I can say that we all face the same problem regarding gender issue and also empowerment of youth women. during my time in 3 missions in UN, in Congo, in Syria, and also in Lebanon at that time, we talked a lot among the women peacekeepers at that time, and we realized that it is really a long way to have an equal numbers of participation, because up to now military still consists of about 5%, and police, women military, women about 5%, women police is about 10%, but civilian, the women civilians is quite a big number, 15 to 20% among the whole mission now. It is about 18 missions around the globe, I think, and still a less number. So we agree that we need to have a network, not only in MENA region, not only in Southeast Asian region where I live, but the whole world. And Women Police has started to have this network. They have like annual meeting for all women police around the world to discuss, to share their experiences, and to encourage women, youth women in their country to join the police force. And based on my experiences also in the field of the peacekeeping mission, I found out that when women peacekeepers are there among the men peacekeepers, we tend to get more information from the local people. So it's we can say that it is easier for the team to win the heart and the mind of the local people. So they easily share their experiences, because in the conflict area, the most disadvantaged group are women, children, and elderly. So when they saw that, oh, there is a women peacekeeper from the MILOP or from the contingent there, and they easily come and approach us and share their stories, so we get more information, more compared to when all men team who come to their area. And this is what I experienced when I was in Congo for 1 year. So whenever there, then all the women in the village came, and then also the elderly, children, even one of the children, the little girl, she told me like, I want to be like you so I can take care of my country. So there is no more war in my country. That's quite, I can say like, she made me like, wow, I didn't do anything. I just came there. I asked the children, how do you feel now when UN are here with you, and when we keep doing all the patrol around, and they told us like, now we can go to our school safely compared to the time before the UN peacekeeper arrived in their area. And it also happened in Syria. A group of elder women came to me and they told me, crying, and they said, thank you for being here so I can sleep now. I don't know the situation at this time, but it was in 2012 when I was there. And little girls, they say, can I be a military like you? Because I don't see any women military in Syria. I said, maybe there is a women military, but when I was there for 3 months, I never saw any women military from Syria at that time. So I can say that we, with all our various background, can encourage our youth, our young generation, especially the young women, to follow our step, or to do more than us, than what we have done up to now. And my humble suggestion, if it is, maybe you have, I don't know, but if it is possible, then there is women advisory board or women advisory body or link or network in MENA region that consists not only women, but also men with various backgrounds who has passion about gender equality issue and especially to empower women and young women in MENA region. And as of course the policy maker, the decision maker from the higher authority should be in the team. So this your sound, your idea, your objective can reach to the top, and then from the top to the bottom, then all people can realize that. So this is not only the objective of us who has this ideal to have equal opportunity or equal in all what we have done or in all what we do every day. I think that's all, Pak Friji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Rati, peacemaker. You're among the first women who have opened the blue gates of the peacekeeping operations, and given the impact that you refer to. Sorry, could you mute some? The scene that you reflected and shared with us with these Syrian little girls who could at least rest or sleep when they knew that there is a woman in the peacekeeping operation is quite revealing. And that's why the UN is now pushing towards the presence or the more active role of women in peacekeeping operations. And that's one of the priorities of IPI. I will call on the ambassadors, on the my dear friend Dina and Sheikh Dina Al Khalifa and or others to think together on how these countries that are peaceful, that are moderate, that are exemplary in stability and all that, and who have great experience in their police, community police, and the rest, to think together on how to start with IPI MENA, the idea of involving women in the police forces of the peacekeeping operations, in the administrative functions. As you know, the peacekeeping operations range from the heavy weapon, but that are aimed at keeping the warring parties apart. But the great work is the mediation, the social, the humanitarian work. And I can see the Her Excellency Esen Hanum is looking, watching with interest, because your country, Turkey, the French ambassador, my friend Nazrul Islam, all your country, and Philippines. I worked with the UN for more than 30 years, almost for 30 years, and I saw your troops playing key role in that. They were all men at the beginning of my career, but we saw the role of women increasing, and this is the responsiveness of the member countries or the troop contributing countries is very important. So I will also add this element to our future discussions, see how we can work together with your ministries of either interior or defense or foreign ministries on how to elaborate more on the need to have this part of the world, MENA, and beyond, as you said, Lieutenant Colonel Rati, to see if there is a network database on women in peace keeping operations. And the impact has no, we don't, y a pas de photo, as they say in French. Their impact has been outstanding, the impact of women in the peacekeeping operations. And I'm glad that some countries like the Nordic countries have now managed to appoint or get the Secretary General of the UN to appoint the peace force leaders, many of them are women now. I mean, we don't say many because many means for me enough, but enough is 50-50. So I will now ask for any of your excellencies, and I'm glad we have the Polytechnic here with us, Madame Zouri, to take the floor if you need to make any comments. I see the hand of sorry, I said the Polytechnic. This is the Royal University for Women, another partner for us. Thank you, Dari, for correcting me. I will give the floor now to a man for a change, the French ambassador, my dear friend Jérôme and Kochar, and who's a real partner for IPI. And Jérôme, you have the floor. Tu as le micro, mon ami.
Voilà. OK, vous m'entendez bien?
Oui, très très bien, merci.
It's only a few remarks. It won't take long. Just we spoke about more conferences, webinar, and so on. I have to mention that 1 month ago, and it's not the French national anthem that I want to sing because it was under the UN Women umbrella, but there was the most important feminist event ever in Paris. It was Generation Equality Forum, and there was the launch of a 5 years plan with $40 billion of commitments. So just to give a message of hope in our field. And my second remark is always like when we had talks previously about tolerance, it's about education. Education is a key issue. Madame Fadel spoke about it, a very interesting remark about the fact that you have to educate your daughters or children in a different way that you were educated. It's crucial. And for education, I want to mention that we know that a disaster is coming, I would say coming back in Afghanistan. So we know that our education is a key issue about this. We had with Sheradina, by the way, a debate about this in last March about the role of women in education and women as driving forces in the MENA region. It was very interesting. Last, I want to mention something that happened in Bahrain. I want to stress this, viewed from the French embassy, as His Majesty decided issued a decree law prohibiting discrimination in wages between women and men. Sometimes you have to be very directive to be efficient in that field. And that's it. Thank you so much for organizing this debate, dear friend. Merci.
Merci, Jérôme. Note taken, and I think what's more important than the many $1 billion that have been pledged is your presence, the presence of women looking for opportunities to get these voices turned into acts, into concrete action. And I think we have the means and the tools to do that if we put our ideas into acts and into initiatives. I will call on all of you to share with us your ideas, and you have the email, my email, that of Dalia and of Eliza. Please don't hesitate to provide us with ideas, and let's move from marking one day to making this day the theme of this day, the theme of every day. Any questions? Any
RUW.
Remark?
Please.
Yes, please, Madame Zouri.
Thank you very much. Thank you. First of all, I am absolutely in awe of the amount of experience, knowledge, and drive and determination that will help address the women agenda. The amount of experience around this e-table, this virtual table, the shared commitment is in itself testament to what will happen in the future. I think there's some very important points being raised here. I completely echo many of the points, and Her Excellency Diana referred to, the need to change the way we think about raising our girls. And maybe I add to that, and I have a daughter who's celebrating her 19th birthday today, so I'm very much aware of that process myself. But I'm also thank you. I'm also going to make reference to the importance of planting these ideas in our boys as well. They are, we do not live in separation from them. They're the ones who are going to give some of our women the jobs. They may well be the ones who are going to mentor some of our young girls. So I think we need to reach out to some sympathetic men out there who will help us in our drive to, really raise the game, raise the stakes around women empowerment, a women responsive approach to everything. I did want to use this opportunity to make reference to, and Sheikh Khadina is here and she's very much aware of what is happening, make reference to the Women's Research Centre that we've launched at the University, the Royal University for Women here in Bahrain. This is a tripartite arrangement between the university, between the Supreme Council for Women, and between the United Nations ESQA. And we are committed through this, strong partnership to really developing a research centre that comes, that reaches out to the community, that makes a difference, that makes an impact. I think we're in agreement that we do not want something that just generates, pieces of paper that sit on shelves, but this is something that will inform policy. This is something that will change, will have impact. It is not for Bahrain alone, it is for the region. And I call upon all of you and your networks to, join hands with us in that research centre to make a difference. This is an opportunity. We're just working through, formalising the mission and the vision and the founding documents for that. We really want to reach out to the right communities because this is an excellent platform to do something different. I hear the call for more webinars and more seminars, and I agree with that, but I also think that we've spent a lot of time talking and now is the time for action. So it's time to really get out there and even baby steps, small steps that will make a difference to one person's life is better than nothing. So so just wanted to say, unfortunately, I have to go to a 2:30 meeting. This is really exciting stuff and I'd love to stay, but I just wanted to say that I think this is a very worthwhile agenda, something that, is very close to my own heart. And we look forward to interacting with all of you in the coming weeks and months, and we'll be reaching out as well. So thank you for hosting us, and thank you for for such an exciting session.
Thank you so much, Madam Zouri. I know you're in a hurry, but let's just tell you that during my UN tenure in Bahrain, your polytechnic, your Royal University of Women was has been and still and will be a key partner, especially with the Department of Law. And we held joint activities, and I think you and Dalia will connect straight after this meeting, and let's look into what we can do together with all our partners through the ideas and your partnership with the Supreme Council of Women and with ESQA, of which I was the spokesperson for many years in Beirut and in Jordan. We could work together towards cementing this partnership towards the theme of the day that we will make every day's theme. So happy birthday to your little sister. She's not your daughter. And we'll get back to you very soon.
Thank you very much, and I would
Thank
welcome
you.
the opportunity to work. And just to say, I'm very new as president of the university. My predecessors have done an amazing amount of work, and I'm very much thankful that I inherit such a lovely legacy and such a lovely future for the university. Thank you all very much, and apologies, I do have to go into another meeting, but I'm hoping to reconnect very soon, inshallah. Thank you.
Good luck and happy Women's Day, Youth Day. Any other remarks?
If you allow me just 30 seconds.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you for very pertinent to learn about MENA region empowerment. All panelists, thanks to them and from Bangladesh, I would like to say that our Prime Minister herself, perhaps in only lady Prime Minister in the world right now, and she has been a government for 30 years. She got leadership award, and in this forum, I'd like to say, since I am based here, and particularly it is heartening to learn about Supreme Council for Women of Bahrain. They are doing very commendable jobs for women, and government of Bangladesh and IPI. I'd like to convey that we stand ready to support any collaboration programs undertaken in the region. And, in fact, I am working on the projects for Bahrain. So I'll be meeting next week with the Council for Women. So we'll be, and it is heartening that I learned from Lebanon with
Your Excellency, I'm terribly sorry. The audio is not very clear, and I can see that on the faces of your our audience. I will
thank you.
No. I'll give you just half a minute to fix that, because we'd like to listen to you clearly, please.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, go ahead, speak, please.
Yes. What I was saying that this seminar webinar was very useful, and I learned many things, and I look forward to working with IPI and also Bahrain Supreme Council for Women.
No, Ambassador, sorry, Ambassador, please, we will wait for you. We will wait for you. Just try to fix this audio problem. You're saying interesting things, and we don't want to miss them.
Can you hear now?
Go ahead.
Actually, because of internet, perhaps the sound is not clear, but I repeat, I look forward to working with IPI and also Supreme Council for collaboration for women empowerment. And since our Prime Minister herself, Sheikh Hasina, is Lady Prime Minister, and she is committed for women empowerment in Bangladesh as well as other friendly countries, brotherly countries. So I stand ready to extend support, and we'll be working together with IPA and since I am based here in Bahrain for women empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have worked together with you, and you have shown the right signs and the readiness and the goodwill, and we will put that into act soon. And Sheikh Hasina has also proved that Bangladesh, despite the difficulties, Bangladesh has had this brilliant woman at the helm of the power, and I think she's among the few Muslim countries that has a woman leader, without forgetting Pakistan, Turkey, that had women leaders. These are Muslim countries, and proved through history that women are capable of running the most challenging context for nations, countries, and of course, for whole region without omitting their global impact at the multilateral system. So thank you so much. I'm very, very proud of your presence and your partnership with IPI. Any other remarks? I don't see any. With this, yes, we'll hear the nice voice of our newcomer, a woman who's representing a big country, Her Excellency Esin Shakil Hanem, the representative of the Ambassador of Turkey. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank to IPI for hosting us for this fabulous event. I'm really glad to hear the experiences of these amazing women in our region, in MENA region. And I'm very proud to represent my country as a woman ambassador. We, the educated women, have the responsibility to be role models and strengthen the vision of young women and girls for a brighter future in our region and a better world. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you.
Tashakkurat Daroom, Your Excellency, and looking forward to meeting you in person as soon as I go back to Bahrain. And of course, we have a strong partnership with your embassy, with the last 5 or 6 ambassadors. We had many important activities, including hosting your former presidents, their excellencies, His Excellency Abdullah Gul, and the current president, President Erdogan, during his last visit in Bahrain. We had him as a guest, Global Leader Series guest in Bahrain, and of course, that's all owed to your predecessors. That would put a nice challenge on you that we have to do better, both of us. I don't know how, but you'll be creative there. We'll work on that together. So without delay, I'd like to thank all of you, the speakers, the ambassadors, my friends, my colleagues in IPI. Thank you so much, Dalia and Eliza. You have been behind this important event. I bow to you, and I'd like everybody to recognize that Dalia as our policy analyst and Eliza as our researcher. By the way, Eliza is now sharing or participating with us in this meeting from Brunei Darussalam, and she's from Singapore. And just to give you an idea that COVID has not managed to put us apart. This distanciation is important, but through Zoom and internet, we are getting closer to one another. And I'm really happy to have you here, Sheikh Adina. Thank you so much again. Ulfa, my friend Dayan, and without additional remarks, I would like to thank the media representatives who are following our activities, and they will reflect that hopefully in the online and on paper and audiovisual outlets. Thank you so much. Happy International Youth Day. And we will have in the near future many opportunities to get together. So without delay, please exchange your focal points or your emails with Dalia, and mainly your ideas. Alpha, je compte sur toi, ma chère amie, et sur Diane et tout le monde. Merci, Jérôme. On a bientôt une petite conversation.
This opportunity, and I'm sure we will build and consolidate more and more partnership to empower women.
Thank you. Thank you. À très bientôt. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be on you. Take good care.